What if you could have a real looking Toyota Tacoma you can crawl through trails with, but in 1/24 scale? It's here, and it's beautiful, and it's great. This is the FMS FCX24M Tacoma, and for under $100 at pre-order, it's already getting a ton of hype. Today we're doing a full review, build quality, driveline, how it performs and whether it's worth the money. First of all, we have a full licensed Toyota Tacoma body. FMS has really outdone themselves with this one, I think. It looks really good and it's a really fun little rig to play around with. We have two sets of front bumpers, the more overland vibe front, and then you also get the more sleek and minimalized front end as well, so you can change them out if you want to. But you have, like I say, Toyota Tacoma, you have front grille that look really good, you have over fenders here, and you get scale accessories like usual. We have the wipers and the rear view mirrors. And you have the bed here with roll cage on it with the overland bed rack here. You have a red bed. It's not that functional since it's not deep enough, but it looks really good. You have rear lights, non-functional. That's a little bit bad because you have front light, but you don't have any back lights. And then you have the back bumper, looks really good. And also the Tacoma logo here at the back. And then you get the scale handle here. And I got the red body because I think that looks really good. And I don't know if you can see it in the shot here, but it's red metallic. And you also get the full interior. It's a bit hard to show you. It doesn't have a driver, but perhaps we can find one to be our driver here. And it got nicely molded doors and door handles, and the body itself looks really good. And the lines of the body is really nice looking, very sharp and really nice build quality, I would say. And FMS has thought a bit about customizability, I think, since the hobby is growing so much and the mini crawlers take leaps every month, I think, because you have a lot of interest in the small scale stuff, and production of the small scale things of the realism is growing so much. So they have thought about the customizability, so you can remove the front hood and you can also remove the bed here to perhaps repaint it or do some things that stand out. And if we compare it to the older FCX24M family, since I have the Discovery here, the size is or the scale is the same. We have a 24 scaled vehicles in both the Discovery and the Tacoma here, and if we compare them side by side, you see that they are quite comparable. And I think the Tacoma is more streamlined with a bigger population, because a lot more people can relate to the Tacoma than perhaps people can relate to the old Camel Trophy scale stuff. So I think the Tacoma will have a lot larger scene than the old Discovery or the old Camel Trophy vehicles have had, even though the drivetrain is more or less the same. You have a new body that will be a lot easier to like I say, relate to and customize and do what you want to do to make it your own. The Tacoma comes in 3 different colors. If we look at the box art here, you have the red one, and then you have the blue one, and lastly the gray one. And the gray one sold out first, I think, but I really love the red one. And then I would say my number 2 pick is the gray, number 3 is the blue one. And here you have the gray one on the front side of the box art. And then if we go over a little bit of the specs, the wheel base is 153 millimeters and the overall length is 253. The approach angle is 49 and the descent angle is 43. So we have quite a bit of a bed overhang at the back, so perhaps the ascent angle will be hindered here, so you get a bit of a hang up. And then we have the track width is 105 millimeters and also the height is 105, so it's a square body. But as you can see here, the Toyota Toyota license ABS hardbody. And if we go over some more specs, we have counter rotating drive shafts, and that is good for the torque twist, because if the vehicle would have the drive shafts turning at the same rotation, when you're going up stuff you would have a torque twist in the chassis, so the body would lean when you're going uphill. You have straight axles. If you would take the FCX18 for example, you have the portals, which is beneficial for the ground clearance, but here you have straight axle, and that is the same for the old FCX24M as well. And if you look at the tires and rims, they look really good, and they are molded after the real wheel of the Tacoma. One thing is that the tire isn't licensed, so it's FMS's own Super Marsher tire, and it's the same tire for the old Discovery as the new one. It's the same size as well. And if we look at the suspension movement, we have clearance to add a bit larger tire, I would say. If we do some turning, when we have the suspension fully up, you see that we have a few millimeters left to change out the tires if we would like to. But as I have said on the reviews with my old Discovery, these tires I would say is really good for the stock vehicle. So I think the Super Marshers will do an excellent job on the Tacoma as well. But if you have started to know me, we can't leave it stock. So I have procured a lot of RC 4-wheel drive tires that I will try out, because they have a 1-inch rim, but the size is quite small. They will fit the Tacoma really awesome, I would say. So that will be a great tire shootout for this vehicle that you will be seeing a little bit later here on a different video. And then we have the front lights, and as I said, those ones are functional, so you have a bit of a halo effect. Even though we have rear lights, they aren't fitted with light bulbs from the box here, so that's one negative. But if you like some modding, you could splice in some 3mm LEDs, so you have functioning rear lights, and I think I will try to do that to the original cable harness. Then we have the body here, you have the Tacoma logo, and the bed, it looks really good with the rack here, so you can outfit it with some accessories. I will show you what I have in mind. I have a small shovel here that I will be attaching to the rack, so we get some scale accessories as well. And if we're going over what's inside the box, you have the USB charger. It's a 1 amp output, so the battery is 380 milliamps, so roughly 3C of charge rate. And then, like I have said before, the most important, the quality check. And then you get a small screwdriver. You got 3 different sizes of Allens, the wheel wrench, so you can unscrew and screw on the wheels. And then you get the replacement spur gear, because the one inside the transmission is plastic and this one is metal. And then you have a different front end or a grille, so you can change out the more aggressive overland grille to a more sleek and minimalistic grille if you would like to. But I think this grille is the best, and you also have 2D links included, so that's really good. And then you have the FlySky G3 version. This is a really good transmitter, I would say. It's small, but it fits really good in your hand. The transmission button is very easy to operate with the thumb here, so if you would like to go down to first gear, you can easily do it, and then up to high gear again. I really like this transmitter. Also, it's small, you don't have a big large foot on it, so yeah, I really like it. And to operate the lights, you press the bind button once when the car is on, and then if you check the dual rates, you can see, because from the factory they usually don't come with the full steering lock, but perhaps this one does. To check it, you make some steering inputs, and then, if I can manage, press steering plus, then you change the dual rates. So let's try it. You heard a few beeps before we have the long one. So now we have full dual rates for the steering. And then you have the same for the throttle. You have the dual rates here at these two buttons. So then I have it in neutral now, but if you listen to the sound here, and then I will press throttle plus. Yeah, you had 3 beeps before it max out, so now we have the fastest dual rates for the throttle as well. That makes a little difference, especially the steering, and I would say that the steering servo is good, it's really fast, and its response is very good. A lot better than most stock servos, I would say. And then you have the servo saver. Some people like it, some people don't, but you could tighten this screw if you think that the servo saver is a bit soft and weak. That makes the servo saver harder. And if we come inside of the body, we have the oil-filled shocks, front and rear. One thing is that you can change shock locations. You have 3 different steps at the front, and then you have a lot of customizability at the rear here. And this one is at the middle, and here you have it at the lowest possible, or the highest suspension. One thing that is really good is that this vehicle comes with 2-speed transmission. That is superb. More and more vehicles come with this, because when one company is making the stakes higher and higher, everybody else has to come along to not lose their position. The key features: the 2-speed transmission, oil-filled shocks. You have a 2-in-1 receiver here, so receiver and ESC with the light control built within. You have the 050 sized motor. The drivetrain of these vehicles is superb. One thing I heard, or didn't heard, is so quiet. When we are in low gear, you have a lot of gear reduction, and then you often have a lot of noise, but as you can hear, it's really quiet. Let's make a noise comparison. The new FCX24M, listen to this. And then we take the old FCX24M, both is in low gear. You can hear that. And let's do some comparison of the speed here. 3, 2, 1. You can see that the old one is a little bit faster, high speed. Okay, so the high speed is the same. Yeah. Whoops. Okay, so the high speed is the same, but the low speed is lower on the new Tacoma. The gear reduction is greater on the low speed for the Tacoma, but a little bit faster on the Discovery. Okay, so that's new. And it was a really good comparison when we had them side by side. When you're doing the crawling, you don't want a lot of wheel speed, but you don't want the first gear to be too low, because then you have a hard time to throttle out. You have to go over to high speed a lot more. But let's see how it behaves when we are coming out to the trail. Alright, so next segment. If you look at drivetrain, you have a counter-rotating drive shafts, and that is really good for the torque twist, so you can manage it. And then you have plastic composite links. It's a 3-link setup for both the front and the rear. And like I said, you have the straight axles here. At the front you have plastic steering links. I will see to make some upgrades here. Batrassi has front brass steering links that I will install at a later date. That's good as well to get some rigidity, but you also get some more weight at the front. If we go into that subject, now we have the battery here at the center. I will be looking at moving it to the front, and I think it will be quite easy to do actually. If we could make a plate here to mount it, I will just reposition it. You see here, you don't even have to make any changes. The cable reaches without problems, and then you could have the battery at the front. Then you have a bit more front bias. Now I will show you here even the 900 milliamp battery that you get in FCX24 and some other FMS vehicles. That fits really good here. And if we try to close the body, and as you see, that battery fits perfectly under the hood. So if you could get some good way to mount that battery here, then you would have a lot better crawler, since we have a lot more weight at the front and not at the back axle. You get it in front of the front axle. So that is one thing that I will look into. And I've seen some people already that has made some bed mods, and if you move the battery to the front, you have a lot more access here, so you could do some lowering of the bed area. It's the battery that's in the way there, and then you have the foam at the back that you can remove to change the bed, if you would like to get into the more technical modding. Alright, let's recap. You have a really good build realism. You have a lot of scale detail that you can work on to make it your own. It's ready to run. You don't need to buy anything else if you don't want to. You can buy this one for 129 bucks right now. When I bought it was 99 bucks. The bang for the buck then and also now only 129. It's a really good deal. It's a good all-rounder. You have a capable car to do some crawling, and then you also have a good trail car. It's not the best crawler and it's not the best trail car either, but it's a good all-rounder. You can do both and it's surprisingly versatile, I would say. I really like it. Drivability of it is good, and since it's a 1/24th scale vehicle, you can transport it very easily. It's portable, it's very nice to either drive it indoors or outside. If you have an indoor course, you can very easily drive it inside, but it's capable enough to drive outside in the real world, which I really like about the small crawlers or the mini crawlers, that you can choose where you drive it, and it's very nimble and very easily to transport. When you have several vehicles, you can just grab a plastic container and throw in some cars and you take them along to the spot you really like and where you love to drive these kind of vehicles. If we will mention some limitations, it is the small size. It's a double-edged sword. It's the thing that I love with the small scale, but it also is the thing that hinders the small rigs the most. If you have driven a 10 scale crawler comparing to the smaller stuff, the bigger crawlers can of course drive over bigger obstacles. You can drive them more easily in the forest, let's say on a trail hike. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. If you have a 10 scale crawler, you have to have a lot bigger place to play in. The playground will have to be a lot bigger. When you have a 24 scale or a 18 scale, I think that is a sweet spot. You don't have to have a big roaming area. You can play around in a quite small space to have a lot of fun. This is the sweet spot for me, at least. And as I say, if you would like to crawl on a big rocky terrain, these ones perhaps aren't the most capable, then you can have several rigs. So let's say you have one 10 scale and then you have a few smaller ones. You can get the best of both worlds. The tire and clearances, it's decent, but you will need to be mindful of the terrain and the obstacle choices, because tires are really small. If we compare, this is a 64 millimeters big tire, and it's like a monster tire on this one. When we're coming into the more scaled vehicles, that becomes the limitation factor for the vehicle. You can't come around that, but you can do changes to this one that makes it a lot more capable, and we will do them in the future videos now. But the small tires and the vehicle itself makes it so it's harder to climb, but then you have to see it like it's a different side of the hobby instead. It's more scale realistic. Like if you would have a real Tacoma, you could go out and overland it, but you wouldn't take it on the mountain and climb the biggest Ultra 4 rocks. You have to buy them with your head, and you have to come up before you buy them, a clear set in mind what you want to use the vehicle for. So you don't buy this one and then you try to take them up the biggest, steepest rocks. They will not handle it. Then you have to buy something else. If you like the scale, realism and crawling, then this is the real kind of vehicle for you. Like we have with the Discoveries, but also we have that with axial SX24 vehicles. They aren't the most capable, but you don't perhaps buy them to climb the steepest stuff right out of the box. You have to modify them if you want them to be really capable. And this applies to the Tacoma as well. As a budget option, this one is really good. Like I said, the pre-order was 100 bucks. Now it's 130 bucks. It's a really good value value vehicle, a good bang for the buck. Alright, what's the verdict? If you're new to RC crawling or just want to have fun, an affordable, scale realistic micro crawler, especially one that looks like a real truck, the FMS FCX24M Tacoma, it's a solid pick. Like I said earlier in the video, I think the Tacoma will have a lot larger scene than what we have seen with all the Camel Trophy trucks. This one is a lot fresher and a lot more up to date. I think the aftermarket scene will be a lot bigger with this one. If you're after a heavy duty rock crawler or maximum scale realism with large obstacles, you might outgrow it. But for fun, portability and value, it's hard to beat. Like most of the micro crawlers these days, they are just getting better and better and better. Let me know. I will start with the modding on this one right away, because I think this one is a real treat to get my hands on. I really like the red, but I think it's a bit too red, or too much of the red. I will be starting with some modding of the body and also some drivetrain upgrades. And let me know if you want to see a comparison with a full-size 1/10 crawler or a mod guide to push performance. Don't hesitate, comment down below in the comment section. And like always, like the video, subscribe, that means a lot. And I see you in the next video. Bye!